Well, it's 3 o'clock. We're live and welcome back to my office. But today is about cooking healthy heart recipes for February, Healthy Heart Month. And today we're going to do something, or this afternoon, a little, well, out of the box. We're going to make shrimp sliders, Mexican shrimp sliders. Now, everyone's going to say, well, shrimp, I mean, that's not a healthy heart food. That's full of cholesterol. I mean, you can't have shrimp. No, guess what? That's wrong. It's a fallacy. This is a pound of shrimp. In this pound of shrimp, there is less than 1 gram of fat. Less than 1 gram of fat in a pound of shrimp. There's no cholesterol in shrimp. And ingested cholesterol, we talked about it this morning on our breakfast show. Ingested cholesterol is not directly related to serum cholesterol. So that's a whole nother issue. However, that's why we can have shrimp on a healthy heart diet. It's protein dense. Eating protein keeps your blood sugar level consistent throughout the day. You don't get those spikes. And you don't get those spikes means you don't get as much inflammation. So a high protein balanced with vegetation, balanced with good fats is the way to go. So we're going to take this shrimp, which has no fat, but we're going to give it a little body. And we're going to put a fat with it. And the fat we're going to use is avocado. All right? Avocado is a healthy fat. It's a good type of fat you can get from plant sources. It's an unsaturated fat, and we're actually going to be cooking with avocado oil as well. And cooking with avocado oil, it doesn't have a really strong flavor. It's very mild, but it tolerates heat very well. You have to be careful when you cook with oils because at a certain point they start to smoke, and when they start to smoke they become hydrogenated. I don't care what oil it is. If you heat it enough, it'll become hydrogenated, which means it becomes saturated, which means it becomes bad. All right? So raw, fresh, cold-pressed oils that aren't hydrogenated, that aren't heated, that aren't processed, that aren't cooked, are really good for you. So we'll be using avocado oil that's cold-pressed, but more importantly, it'll cook better at a higher temperature. It doesn't hydrogenate. And then we're going to put everything on a piece of cilantro as part of our slider. So we're going to stay away from grains. So the first thing we need to do is get the fire going. And as we get the fire going, we can think about our choices in terms of what we eat. Because we are what we eat, but we're also what we eat eats. Now, I'm making shrimp. And I already told you, shrimp's a high protein food, low fat, high in potassium. Now, when it comes to blood pressure, there's a special diet that's been around for a long time. It's called the DASH, D-A-S-H diet. Dietary alternatives for systolic hypertension. And basically what it is it's foods that are high in potassium. And that doesn't mean just bananas and oranges. Swiss chard, very high in potassium. Beet greens, high in potassium. In fact, if you want to get a potassium shot, drink a glass, 8 ounces of low salt V8. Low salt V8 has 800 milligrams, 834 to be exact, milligrams of potassium in it. So you want some potassium, that's a great way to get it. Don't add the vodka. Do add the celery, all right? So potassium is really, really important. And all the vegetation we want to use for a healthy heart diet, you want potassium rich. And you need more vegetation than protein. Now this dish is going to be kind of even vegetation and protein, but ideally in combination of this you'd want to have a salad, you would want to have some sauteed vegetables, you would want to have an increase in the vegetation. Your dinner plate should be about 3/4 vegetation, maybe a little bit of fruit in there, and only 1/4 protein and grains. All right, so that's what we want to do. Fire's starting to come up a little bit. Just going to add a touch of avocado oil, not too much because we don't need that much. And again, it's going to tolerate the heat of the pan very well. I have a little bit of garlic, 1 clove of garlic. I'm going to put that in. Let that get a little color going on it. We don't want it to brown because as garlic, if you get too much heat on it, it starts to, it gets bitter. We don't want that. Gonna add just a tad more of the avocado oil. Sometimes we do want a little bit more fat than browning than others. There we go. So you get that going. I'm getting a little translucent. Then once it gets translucent, we're going to add the shrimp. Now I talked about the benefit of the shrimp, but guess what? Stay away from farm-raised shrimp unless you know where it's being grown. Like if it's farm-raised shrimp from a farm in California, in Canada, in a country where you can respect what they're doing, okay, you're probably all right. But if you're getting farm-raised shrimp from Taiwan, from Chile, from China, who knows what they're feeding those shrimp? All right, so you have to be careful. So I would recommend you get a farm-raised shrimp if it's from a reputable source. If not, go with wild-caught. Look, 99% of our fish is previously frozen. I don't care what it says. If you're going right down to the docks and you're seeing the fisherman and you're getting it from the fisherman, or the fisherman's got his own fish store, you may be getting fresh fish. But when a fishing boat's out at sea for 1, 2, 3, 4 days, a month at a time, they have to chill the fish to keep it fresh. So it's basically frozen. The flavoring I'm going to use on the shrimp is my Mexican rub, just a mix of dry spices that I put together myself. I'll put that on there. Just give it a moment to saute in. So when it comes to your fish, 98% of it is already previously frozen, even if it says fresh, but you really want to try to get wild caught. Now this afternoon, or this evening rather, we're going to be talking about salmon and the different types of salmon and that wild caught versus previously frozen versus farm raised. But the bottom line, when it comes to shrimp, you really want to try to get wild caught. If you can get fresh, not previously frozen, that's great. Without sulfites, that's great. But if it's in the frozen section, it's probably very similar to what they're selling in the fresh section. And a lot of times, if you do go into the frozen section, they're all dated. So flip the bag over, look on the bag, look when it was packaged, and get the freshest one possible. And I think you'll be very satisfied. You really will. This happened to be a previously frozen wild-caught shrimp from Argentina, but it was wild-caught. So I'm not concerned about what they were feeding it in the farm. So we're just going to saute this up. Doesn't take long. Takes a few minutes. While that's going, we're going to get our sliders prepared. We're going to use avocados for the base on endive. Now, when you're picking an avocado, this one feels a little firm, so I have 2 avocados here. We'll see how ripe it is. Hopefully it's good. You want the ones that are a little more oblong, okay, as opposed to a ball. And, oh, that's perfect. Leave your avocados out until they start to get slightly soft. Once they get slightly soft, then you can place them in the refrigerator so they're already pretty much ripened, but when you need them, you can take them out that day, the day before, and then they'll look like this. So I put this in the refrigerator a couple of days ago after I left it out for 3 days. Now, shrimp doesn't take long. You don't want to overcook it. You don't want to kill it. So just give it a little bit, and that's done. All right, but this isn't done, so I'm going to shut that off and just leave those in the pan. I'm going to scoop out the avocado. So avocado oil is good. Try to get as much of the green next to the skin because that's where your high antioxidants are with your avocados. We're just going to put a little piece of avocado on the endive. Now, if you like avocado, you can use a bigger piece, a thicker piece. If you don't like avocado, you can use a thinner piece. The old technique to get the pit out is to grab it with your knife and turn it. I got to use another knife now, though. And just slice it down like that. Make your little slices. So we're going to use good fats from the avocado. We get a little bitterness from the endive. It's going to be a nice contrast to the slight bite we're going to get from the Mexican shrimp. Then we'll finish it off with a little bit of cilantro, and that's a nice little treat for you. And if you were to put this with a salad, a bed of salad, you'd have a full meal. Or if you eat this yourself, it's a full meal. Let's take that out of there. But try to get as much of the green out of the avocado as you possibly can, because that's what's going to make it where all your antioxidants are. So on top of that, every piece gets a couple of pieces of shrimp. I missed that one. Now I took the tails off the shrimp because it makes it more of a finger food. The shrimp are deveined and cleaned, so we don't have to worry about that. Boy, that one got away too. I'm going to have to cut a little more avocado for those last two pieces, but I think you get the idea. Let's get in there. Come on back. There we go. This guy's a big one. We'll give him another one. This guy's a big one. So I hope you guys are hungry, because man, this smells good. And if you like, a little bit of kick in your food, you get a nice bite from the from the Mexican flavors. And then we'll finish it off with some cilantro. If you want, you can add a little touch of lemon or lime to get a little acid. Those always go well with these dishes. Well, see, sometimes you don't know what happens. All right? Unfortunately, it looks like this avocado was frozen. Okay? So you got to watch out. A lot of times when you're at the store, these vegetables are harvested young. They're harvested early. And then they chill them, or maybe they got frozen on the way up, and that's what happens. So I'm glad I bought 2 avocados, but we're not eating that one. So therefore, we'll just take out these 2 pieces of endive. That'll be my salad for later. Put that there, and we'll just put that one there, and right in here. Let's grab a little cilantro. Chop this up, and then we'll be ready for a nice little snack. So remember, when it comes to healthy heart foods, you want to have foods that are potassium-rich vegetation. And you can look that up, or just remember it's got to be leafy, it's got to be colorful, and it's got to have a little bit of some flavor, not always sweet things. The things that are a little less sweet sometimes have a little bit more nutrient density to them, the bitter types foods like the endive. So have some potassium. Make sure you have lots of fruits, vegetables, and just enough protein to keep everything balanced. I'm going to put just a little bit of lemon over it. We're going to just hoping to avoid that. I got the last seed. A little bit of lemon. You can use lime as well. Good. And there we have it. Avocado shrimp sliders. From my office to yours. And thanks for my live audience who get to enjoy the treat.